Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to read a tape measure. Now it's really important to know and understand that fractions play a big part in how to read a tape measure. Now there are 16/16 in every inch. So the smallest lines are going to represent each 16th of an inch. There is a second longer line, which denotes all of the 1/8 inch increments. Slightly longer lines, which denote 1/4 inch increments. The second longest is going to denote half. And then the longest lines are going to be your inch lines. So every tape measure is broken down by 1/16, 1/8, 3/16, 1/4, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16, half, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, 13/16, 7/8, 15/16, 1. So 2/16 goes down to 1/8. 3/16, which is already as small as possible. Now 4/16 would break down into 2/8 or down into 1/4. 5/16, 6/16, which is also 3/8, 7/16, and you have 8/16, which would be 4/8, 2/4, or 1/2. Now a tape measure doesn't actually have these numbers written numerically on them. So you can tell by the length of each dash. So the shortest are going to be our 16ths, which I've mimicked here. The next is going to be the 1/8 marks, then our 1/4s, and then our half. Now I know that my numbers are running from right to left, and you normally would read a tape measure from left to right. However, there are going to be multiple times where you're going to be pulling a tape measure this way. So it's handy to know it both directions. There are some tape measures that have even smaller increments in between the 16ths, which are 30 seconds. These typically only run the first foot or even just a couple of inches of these smaller tape measures, and this is for measurements that you need to be really, really precise. Now, when we're in the field and we're doing trim carpentry, usually what we'll refer to these as are pluses. So instead of having to know what 3/30 seconds is, we would just say a 16th plus or a 16th minus for 1/32. So that just means you go to the 1/16 and you go up a little bit or you go down a little bit. Now all of your tape measures are going to note every foot increment. So when you get to your first 12 inches, it's going to say 1 foot with a big black arrow. And then moving forward, you're going to have red numbers on top of your inch marks. These are denoting 1 foot, 1 inch, 1 foot, 2 inch, 1 foot, 3 inch, and so on. Now every 16 inches is going to have a red block around that number. So 16, 32, 48, and so on. This is because when you're framing, you run in a standard 16-inch on center measurement, meaning every stud is typically 16 inches on center. Now you'll see here we have 2 foot at 24 inches. And we have our 32 in red. Now when you're using your tape measure, another important thing to know is that the very end moves just slightly in and out. This is to allow for the thickness of this little foot so that when you're pushing against something to take a measurement, it slides in. When you're pulling to take a measurement, it slides out to accommodate for the thickness of the foot itself. Now, if you need extreme accuracy, I would not recommend using this metal foot at all. If you're going down to the 16th or to the 32nd, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull your tape measure out You're going to want to hold your starting point at the 1-inch line, take your measurement, and then remember, it's very important to add back in your inch to your overall number. What you don't want to do is take that measurement at the 1, cut it at face value, because now your board is going to be an inch too short. It happens all the time, so just remember, add back in your inch. Now you should know how to read and use the tape measure. As always, if you found this video helpful, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.